it was able to crack some encryption that shouldn't be crackable. By the way, so what do you think of the whole Sam Altman stuff, our buddy over there?
We knew. I mean, we mentioned it that he will come back. I didn't expect it to be like the next week. But yeah,
It happened quick.
yeah. I think that is just like we say, right? It's like for the TikTok generation, that's what happens, right? It's like all of this drama is just faster. So I think that the interesting thing is like everything that is happening with Q star. So and I think that there is a lot of different. Even some conspiracy theories too, as well. So, have you heard that the leak letter?
Yeah, so like everyone's trying to figure out, okay, what really happened, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just such a strange story. I don't think you've ever really heard about such a high profile company firing their CEO, rehiring them within like 3 days, and then you hear about all this drama on the board, and the board gets fired and replaced. So this is like very weird stuff, especially for something like so big and
Yeah.
such a big company. So what we found out though is that there's this leak letter. So apparently in this letter, it gives a little bit more information about this Q star, or what they're calling qualia, about maybe this is part of the reason of why Sammy Boy got fired, is because people really did get freaked out. So remember we mentioned like the researchers, they may have inadvertently created baby Terminator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to watch out for that. And so this letter kind of breaks down a few of the different things that says like what makes this baby Terminator. So there were three things specifically that were called out in this leak letter. One was that the model that they were training was able to recursively kind of select which method or approach was going to work best for it to be able to complete a task. So usually the models, they do have forward pass and backwards pass where it does improve things, but this one was doing it even better. So basically it could say, I think I'm going to try this method to solve this problem, and it was doing it a lot better. So that's kind of a new twist. So it was getting better, and that maybe is not like a huge jump, but it's heading in that direction. So a second thing was that it was basically, once it figured out how to do this one thing better, it's like, I did this a little bit better on this, solving this problem. I wonder if this will work on this other problem too. So it was able to transfer what it learned from one problem to another problem and skip that whole iterative learning piece that it had to do. So again, if you're thinking about a little baby Terminator, if
Mm-hmm.
it's learning like the way a person would do, because that's how a person would approach it, is like, well, I've done it this way when I'm trying to do this task or problem. Maybe it'll work the same way over here, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
what it's able to do. And then third thing, which is maybe the most worrying part, is that it was able to crack some encryption that shouldn't be crackable. Like it would take, millions of years to be able to crack certain encryption. They said it was able to do it, but they have no clue how it did it. They just like provided it a bunch of compute power and a bunch of data, and it was able to kind of figure it out. And so now a lot of this is, like we said, kind of conspiracy, like nothing has been confirmed. But Sam Altman did confirm, like, yes, there was a leaked letter. He didn't confirm what was in that letter. That's all he was really willing to say. So this is, the encryption piece is the part that's more worrying. The other stuff is like, yeah, we're expecting to see these baby steps from these models to be able to start growing and get better. So, what do you think about those items?
Ah man, it's kind of worrisome because these are tools at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So hackers can use these tools too if they're in their disposal. They can create different programs. They can break code. They can use it to hack, right? To be able to get your data. And talking about that, one of the companies that just got hacked, it was 23andMe, and crap. It's like, I think that you and me, we have for sure. I know that I have my accounts. Like crap.
You're gonna have baby Eric and baby Mondo Terminators running around here pretty soon.
I guess it's like, which is like, man, like all data, and it was like a 14,000 people that they got their data. It's about 0.1% of their customer base. So I think that that's what is going to happen. It's going to be harder to catch these people because the technology is going to allow them to crack and try to be more savvy about it. So it's going to be very interesting how it's going to turn out the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and 23andMe, I think they've been hacked before. I'm not sure exactly to what extent this last one was. Is like, did they get actual DNA of people, or are we talking about like emails and usernames and stuff like that?
Hard to tell, but in some case, you might be wondering why they want that data, right? What do you think that? Do you think that they want that data?
Well, okay. So one, being in healthcare, I understand that there's a lot of HIPAA
Hmm.
requirements there. Like, if someone has access to like your healthcare history, if that data gets to, let's say, like an insurance company, they might like not, they might refuse to insure you, pre-existing conditions and stuff like that. The thing is, like, a lot of the data that's in the genome and things like that, it doesn't mean that you are going to get something, like you are going to be sick. It's more like probabilities of you
It's
having a
probably
certain condition, right? Now, in some cases, it is pretty high probabilities. Like you've seen the breast cancer gene and things like that. Those are really, really high probabilities. But there's other things that are pretty low probabilities. So, if they get that information and it gets to the wrong hands, yeah, like insurance companies, things like that, that could be bad. I don't know if they're trying to clone people or things like that, if that's what they're getting towards, but really data is data, right? You
yeah.
don't really know what the future holds or how it can be used, but maybe ChatGPT will be able, maybe Terminator will figure
And
out
I think that that's
something
what
to
I
use
was
it with.
thinking. I was thinking for algorithms. So
Mm,
basically, if you have a lot of information about people, then you can use maybe some AI, right? Some chat GPT, and you can try to figure out. So and this is just for, I guess, corporate espionage, right? Like
mhm.
another company, you mentioned the one for insurance. I can see maybe another laboratory paying other guys to be able um, to create an algorithm based on that data. So yeah, it's very useful because it's a very hard and expensive data to get. So 23andMe has spent tens of thousands of developer hours, and plus of that, the time to be able to have the people. So it's many years of work.
Yeah, they've been around for what, at least 10, 15 years,
Hmm.
23 on me, at least that we know. It was probably from the early 2000s. So, yeah, that's very, very interesting. But,